like this. There's one, Winnie Odinga, and we're going to see exactly what Kenyans are talking about or think about it this morning. This is what she told the rest of ODM, that the only person who was entrusted with the responsibility to handle the broad-based government conversations was the late Raila Amolo Odinga, his father. And therefore, he asked the ODM party to hold a national delegates conference that would choose another leader that would then steer ODM into the next phase of that party after Raila Amolo Odinga. What does that mean? Ule ankole yake mwenye anaitwa Oburu Odinga ni kama muamini. Sema mzee bwana, sidhani kama anaongoza chama vile chama chetu cha ODM kinafaa kuongozwa. Yeah. Kwa hivyo sisi kama chama tunafaa tutafute kiongozi, kwa sababu Raila Amolo Odinga peke yake ndiye alikuwa na responsibility, ndiye alikuwa ameshikilia chama chetu cha ODM katika maongezi ya broad-based government. All right? Oburu Odinga responded and said, nimesikia mtoto yangu anaitwa Winnie Odinga amesema Raila pekee ndiye alikuwa ameshikilia haya maongezi ya broad-based government. Akasema nishakubali, sikatai, lakini mimi na yeye tutaongea huko kinyumbani. Ndampigia simu, labda tukipatana huko nyumbani nimwambie bwana achana na hiyo maneno. Was it a vote of no confidence? I don't know what to call that in Swahili. From Winnie Odinga to Oburu Odinga? Was it? How do you make sense of that? A lot of sentiments that have also come out of that. Kilele Shwad, remember MCA, is also speaking. I'll be telling you exactly what it said, and then it's got a reaction as well, So there's just a lot that we're going to unpack this week from that ODM at 20 celebrations, including the fact that the president, who's a member of UDA, that is his party, attended, and he said, I unapologetically will attend, because whether you guys like it or not, I'm a founding father of ODM. So that party, was a dinner party by ODM, was also attended by the president. Just so much that we have to break in between here. And I do promise, probably tomorrow or before the end of this week, we're going to make sense of that conversation, of that outlook, what we saw in those celebrations, and what they really mean for the future of politics in this country and for the ODM party in this country. Also, Cherargei has been speaking as well. He's a man who majority of politicians across the country have attributed him to having a loose tongue. So he said, bwana, hii mambo ya broad-based government yenye mnakuja hapa kutuongelesha nyinyi kama ODM, kuna positions mbili msiaifikiria kuguza. Position ya Ruto, msidhani tuwapatia, that is a reserve for the UDA party, which is the ruling party, the Kenya Kwanza government. And there's also the deputy president position, hiyo msiai guza, na hatutaongea kama the ruling party. So tuwapatia the rest of the positions. At the time when Oburu Odinga is also said the bare minimum is going to be the deputy president position. Like they say, things are boiling nicely. Yeah? Mambo yanachemuka pole pole, mzuri mzuri. That's what they say, vizuri vizuri. Since we're speaking fluent Swahili this morning, I'll be telling you exactly how that is shaping the country's conversation. But this morning, we talk about the headlines that have been coming from the education sector in the country. By the way, KCSE is on. Yeah, still on, for those who are wondering. The Form 4 students are still in school doing their exams, there have been a lot of conversations around the conduct of majority of school heads in the country. So there's corruption, tough-handedness, unwarranted transfers. This morning, we talked to education stakeholders in the country. We're going to have an official from Kupet and an education researcher this morning. We're going to join me on this conversation so that we put a perspective on what can be done just to make sure that school heads across the country run the schools as they ought to. We talk about that as well, plus many other conversations around these topics. My name is Elijah Charles Kiage, online at Look Up TV across all of them. Let's take a look at what it is that you're waking up to this morning in your dailies. And as usual, we're going to begin with the Daily Nation this morning. The big headline here is the war within. Is it true? Is it true that there's a war within? Yeah? Is there, or are we perceiving it? Now, when his heart tackle on Oburu during ODM Gala reveals family tensions. Is it? Because this is what he's talking about. That is Raila who left us in the broad-based government. If it comes to 2027, we shall look at the best position to talk with or go it alone. That's Oburu Odinga. And this is what Winnie is saying. The broad-based relationship is complicated. Those managing it now, are they capable? Because it's only one Baba, Raila Odinga, who could manage it. When Odinga, as a vote of no confidence on the interim party leader. Is that what it is? Is it a war between, because the Daily Nation is calling it this morning, and this is what they're saying, Raila's daughter demands a national delegates convention to pick party leaders. And this is a conversation that we're having last week. I did ask ODM members here, what is stopping them from having that national delegates convention to pick these party leaders? Well, we didn't get the answer in the studio. We're saying, well, we gotta wait. Introduce order first in the party before we make that step. But Winnie is calling it this morning, and she's saying, no. I mean, let's get directly into it. She's saying that none of the leaders currently, as she sees, are fit to take the party into these conversations on broad-based government. We'll be talking about that this week. I do promise that's going to be a conversation we're going to have. A couple of stories here that you're going to wake up to also on the Daily Nation. There's on page 7, 87,000 ghost learners drain 1 billion of public school funds annually. That story has been covered on page 7, and we're going to touch on that as well, because school funding and ghost learners is a big conversation that we're going to have this morning as well. You can see that 1 billion annually of ghost learners, There's also ghost schools that have been authored in the educational industry, in the education sector, sorry. We're going to talk about that this morning as well. Flying coffins, old beat-up police choppers are a disaster in waiting. By the way, have you been seeing these trending clips of that chopper? I think it's the DV, starts with the DV5Y something, that old police chopper that has always been struggling to take off. Every other time it's been involved in missions across the country. And that's what the Daily Nation is talking about there this morning. There's on page 8, you're going to read about food crisis, World Food Report, why more Kenyans are now facing hunger. Now Food and the Agriculture Organization, that's the World Food Program assessment, warns that Kenya faces a worsening hunger crisis, highlighting growing risks from climate conflict and economic pressures. That story has been covered on page 8. On page 16, you're also going to read about Moi Era contractors' assets up for sale in KCB loan roll at page 16. And also transport sitting side saddle on borders can be deadly, warns NTSA. Yeah? So wale wenye wanakaa wakiangalia sideways. Is a thing that we've seen. Si wangesema tu ni wamama ndio wanapenda, wamama na wasichana ndio wanapenda kukaa bodaboda kama unaangalia sideways. By the way, it's actually dangerous. Yeah, that's what it is on page 3. So for the kwa wasichana na mama zetu ambao wanasikiza, ukiona kama hujavaa vizuri, basi kwenda kuingia kwa bodaboda, heri utembea. Naona kwa sababu tunaelewa sababu ambayo itakufanya ukae, side saddle. Semaje, ukiangalia upande wa bodaboda kama ni wakulia ama kushoto wa mtu, na najaribu kutoa vizuri ndio tupate hiyo message, ujumbe samahani. Kama hujavaa vizuri kwenda kuingia kwa bodaboda, hili utembee. Ukiona umevaa vizuri, labda umevalia nguo ndefu ambayo itakusitiri vizuri, ingia basi kaa vile mtu anafaa kukaa. Na NTSA ndio nakwambia leo, ukikaa ukiangalia upande, unaika maisha yako you're endangering your life. That's essentially what they're saying. And it's true. Take care of yourself. Arrive alive. Usikae ukiangalia upande. Kama hujavaa vizuri, itisha Uber ama Bolt, ingia ndani ukae vizuri basi. Na kama una hiyo pesa basi, heri leo ukiamua kwenda kuingia kwa bodaboda, uivaa vizuri ndio uende ukae vizuri. Kwa sababu ukiangalia upande, one mistake, driver akishika tu breki mara moja tu hivi, mali utanguka ni either wanguke mbele ama wanguke upande kiupande, and that's not good. All right, so na unaweza shikwa by the way, ndio wanasema hapa utashikwa. Let's look at what you're waking up to also this morning on the Standard. See what the bigger stories here are. I looked at it, I said, is it? Raila, reincarnate. Because this is a headline that Winnie Odinga's burst onto the national stage, igniting a succession battle that could redefine or fracture the Odinga political empire. Her fiery debut at ODM's 20th anniversary in Mombasa energized supporters and unsettled rivals, signaling her intent to shape a party already split by competing camps. With Raila gone, ODM faces its most volatile moment in decades, and an aging Oburu at the helm, rising factional tensions and a bold new contender challenging the old order, when his next move could determine the party's future. Is it too much? Is it too much? Because even the headline doesn't really speak so much about her, because what it's talking about is Winnie Odinga has burst into the national stage. The only thing she said, she's questioning the party leadership in the context of the broad-based government conversations. Is that bursting into the scene, really? She just asked a question that Edwin Sifuna has been asking, and some members of ODM have been asking as well. But it is what it is. This is a quote. When it came to the matter of broad-based government, the people of ODM entrusted one person with management of that relationship. That person was Raila Amolo Odinga. That relationship is complicated. That's what she's saying. That's what she said. Raila reincarnate? Really? And that's what the MCA for Kileleshwa is questioning this morning. It's like, are you sure? She's a Raila reincarnate. I will be reading for you what she's saying this morning on your trends. On that note then, let's jump onto our trends this morning, see exactly what is trending across the country. And there's a lot. By the way, Nigeria is not going to World Cup. Nigeria is not going to World Cup. If you didn't hear, they didn't qualify. So the likes of Akina Osimhen are not going to World Cup. Anyway, it is what it is. Because World Cup is next year, by the way. Can't believe time moves that fast. It's been 3 years since Messi lifted the World Cup with Argentina. That's how fast it goes. Anyway, so let's take a look at your major trends this morning. See exactly what it is that Kenyans are talking about before we jump into our conversation. First, there is Chinese manager who's Zhao Shanghong. Hopefully I'm reading it right. And I do apologize, I didn't do my proper research around this area. Now this guy has his company in Eldoret City, and he was filmed physically assaulting his employee, all right? And majority of Kenyans were calling on the DCI to go in and take action against him. Let's take a look at that clip of this guy then assaulting that employee. There is a developing news around this one, and we come back and then talk about it. All right, let's take a look at that clip and then come back, and I'll tell you what the development is and what Kenyans are talking about it. Let's take a look.
Mpige kidevu. Mpige kidevu.
This has gotten Kenyans speaking. Now I'll tell you the development. The development, now just hold on before we make sense of this story. The development is that after this guy, Zhao, I don't know how to pronounce his second name, went online, and majority of Kenyans were calling for his head, you know, that you can't assault an employee like that on a camera. There's been a lot of development, and even Kotu, Secretary General, has been speaking as well. Now, I'll start like this. This guy went back, all right, and apologized to the employee, again on camera. And you could see the manager realized, I've made the gravest mistake ever I could have done in my company. So went back and apologized to the employee. And on record again, it's only that we don't have that video for you this morning, came back and said, I forgive him. Sometimes emotions can be bad at work. And yeah, so let's get back to work. That is according to this employer. And you could see the Chinese guy was holding his hand through and through as a sign of remorse, all right? Now, there are a couple of Kenyans who've really spoken about it. And I'll read for you a couple of statements from a couple of agencies this morning. Kotu Secretary General Francis Atwoli also tweeted on this, calling for the immediate deportation of the Chinese citizen who was assaulting a Kenyan employee in this company. Captain Corey this morning was saying, a staff and his boss, very unfortunate. Some employers are toxic, all right? Mistreatment and abuse in the workplace. It took a lot for the worker to restrain himself. Queen Bee, Subi, was saying, explain to me, how did it get there? Alafu, at what point do you stand upigwe? This is Eldoret. Is the government doing anything? Amakazi ni kumaliza its own people. So some of the submissions that have come from Kenyans looking at this particular development. All right. Kotu demands the immediate deportation of the Chinese national captured on video assaulting a Kenyan worker. This is what Kotu is calling on the government to do now, based on that particular video. All right. Also, Chinese national captured on video assaulting Kenyan colleague has been sacked. TCM Roofing Mabati Supply says arrangements are underway to deport him back to his country. Unajua Kenya ni wengi sana. When they look into this, wanaona you can cash in. So the Kenyans were advising the worker to sue the company for bodily harm and mistreatment at work. Mkenya hapa anasema bwana, mimi ningeshachukua lawyer na Christmas yangu ingeanza mapema. I'm not going to read your name. Kuna vitu zingine hapo umesema siwezi sema. I cannot read that on air. Siwezi sema hizi vitu. There is Kinywa this morning who's saying, mimi hapa naona 200 million. Hiyo company itafungwa. Eti ningejiangusha hapo na nipeleke kwa hospitali. What? All right, it is what it is, man. I mean, this is a lesson. You can't just assault somebody at work like this. Good. On that note, then let's cross over to another trending issue this morning. I can see Winnie is trending, but I'll show you the next video here before then we make sense of what's going on. Let's take a look at that video. Just oak-eyed Kenyans realize something during the cake cutting process. I want you to look at this. These two arrows here. This represents the cake, and this is going to represent Oburu Odinga. Might be a bit grainy this morning because we really had to look for it. Let's take a look at it and then come back and talk about it. That's President cutting the cake during the founders' party. All right, give it to Oburu Odinga. There it is. Winnie speaks to him, and then immediately Oburu Odinga toasts out the cake. There it is. Just wait for it. There is the cake. It's given to him, and then he tosses it out immediately. That's pretty much the video. Yeah. So my question is, did you Kenyans look at it? What do you make of it? Because it's still there. Substitute, tosses out immediately. Yeah. I'm not going to say anything. This is just for Miss Yongei. Ni wewe ujijazie. Usiseme eti unajua Simba alienda akasema hivi on air, watu wa look up walisema hivi. Si tumekuonyesha video. Rais amepatia Oburu Odinga keki, Oburu Odinga hakuikula hiyo keki, ameitupa. And that's the end of that video. But after Winnie Odinga amemwongelesha, unajua Oburu aliweka kwa mdomo akaanza kula. Angalia. Haya, akaongeleshwa kutoka huko alafu immediately akaitoa. Tumemaliza hiyo video. And probably mkitaka kujua inamaanisha nini, nyinyi mtajijazia bwana. Sisi tumemaliza hiyo mambo. All right. Now, because of that, Winnie is trending this morning, and I will tell you why Winnie is trending this morning. It's because of the sentiments that she put across during the ODM at 20 celebrations in Mombasa. That's it. Peter Salasia is saying the spirit of Baba is with Winnie Odinga. I want to see her fully involved in Kenyan politics. She has what it takes to lead ODM. She spoke so well at ODM at 20 about the broad-based relationship, and I want to hear her voice every day. She is genuine with continuity of ODM legacy. The rest are selfish. That's a man within ODM speaking as well. Let me just read for you a couple of sentiments as well. There's also within those celebrations, Winnie Odinga did allege a plot to sell ODM as well, which angered a couple of ODM officials. I'll read for you a couple of sentiments here of the reactions to the Winnie Odinga message. Good. Oburu Odinga speaking. Ulisikia mtoto wangu Winnie akisema Raila alikuwa hapo eti sasa tutafutie mtu mwingine wa kuendeleza hii broad-based government. Huyo mtoto wangu tutaongea naye kinyumbani. Some of the sentiments that are coming from this one. And even as we speak today, there are a couple of ODM leaders that are warning some ODM members from speaking against Winnie Odinga. Robert Alai, the MCA, Kilelesho, is being warned by Millie Odhiambo, who told him to stop speaking foul of Winnie Odinga as well. And this is what Robert Alai said, that she's got no political experience to give anyone direction in ODM. She isn't even a party official. That's what he said. The fact that you're the daughter to Baba Raila Odinga doesn't give you the right to insult female leaders in ODM, that they're sleeping with Ruto to sell the party in bedrooms. Your claim to the throne is because of the bloodline and not because of any unique thing you have done. Shameful to see you insult fellow women leaders. It's extremely surprising that a woman would use the bedroom stereotypes on fellow women to score a political point. Extremely unfortunate. That is what Robert Alai spoke about this particular issue that angered one, Millie, who spoke heavily against the sentiments of one Robert Alai that were thrown toward one Winnie Odinga. So that's exactly what it is this morning then, in terms of your biggest strengths. I see a lot of Kenyans were talking about the tour for one president, Ruto, in the, is it in the central? No, not in the central, in the Ukambani region. Let me just put it like that. Also, Ruto Kindiki Park is trending this morning as well. We do know why it's trending. Is because why Senator Cherargei is spoken about it. And Congo beat Nigeria to qualify for World Cup. So it means Nigeria is completely out, by the way. Yeah. As I did. So akina Osime watulie, si ndio? Bado haijaisha, but they might not qualify. Good. On that note then, we take a tiny breather right here on the Morning Drift. Our conversation this morning touches on the state of education in the country. The question being, are head teachers across the country misbehaving? These headlines that we've seen across the country, where are they coming from? Is it time for us to reevaluate the leadership of secondary schools in the country? Once we come back right here, that is a conversation. Have you seen corruption, mistreatment, and tough-handedness in your secondary school or high school in the country? Talk to us right here at Look Up TV across all your social media platforms. That is a conversation that we have this morning once we come back right from this tiny breather. Good morning. My name is Simba Elijah Charles here.
Hey, you asked for the vibes and we brought the vibes. Okay.
Welcome to Gen Z Vibes, where the entertainment never sleeps.
From blockbuster movies to music that bangs.
Experiment. Where is he? No matter what comes my way.
From fashion that eats to celeb gossip that shops.
We are the plug. And if it's trending, you already know we are on it.
It's real, it's raw, and it's giving Gen Zs.
Come for the vibes, stay for the tips, and leave feeling 10 out of 10, minus nothing. This is Gen Z Vibes, where the vibes never stop vibing.
I recall the doctor telling me that day, he said, Sarah, I'm sorry about what happened to you, but you see, life happens. You would have to learn to work with your hands, depend on your hands more.
And today, if you're going through anything that you do not understand, just call on this name, Jesus, and he will save you.
I realized I loved music when I was about 7 or 8. I used to puff my cheeks and play the 12-bar blues. Like I'd walk around the house doing like.
Why do we need the Holy Spirit?
I mean, if you look at what Jesus said when he was leaving, he said he is going and that he will send the Holy Spirit as our helper.
So God knows everything since the end, from the beginning, has a plan for your life. So to find that plan for your life, you must find God. When you find God, you will know the path for your life.
Do you need a dose of hope? If so, you are in the right place. We think of ourselves around here as hope dealers, delivering truth, power, and inspiration to hearts and minds all over the world. If nothing else has worked for you, why not give the God thing a try? For it's in the presence of God that you'll find everything that you need. Amen.
How easy is it for you to forgive someone who has hurt you?
How easy is it?
What are some tips, a person can apply to improve their public speaking skills?
We all have personality lazy somewhere around us.
In my mind, whenever I'm invited for a public speaking event, I don't like to put a lot of, accessories or too many colors.
What are the major things to look out when choosing a school for a child?
Another cheesy conversation starter is, men do this a lot. Men look familiar. Have we met before?
Oh.
No. We met in
Nobody is buying that line again.
No, we don't. We don't buy it anymore.
Save a Life is a non-profit organization that has taken the front line in transforming lives in the entire country. So far, we have transformed the life of over 100,000 people through our programs, which include medical support, youth empowerment, street family program, feeding program, and climate change. Join us today as we transform lives. As we always say, service to humanity is service to God. Save a life, transforming lives.
I recall the doctor telling me that day, he said, Sarah, I'm sorry about what happened to you, but you see, life happens. You would have to learn to work with your hands, depend on your hands more.
And today, if you're going through anything that you do not understand, just call on this name, Jesus, and he will save you.
I realized I loved music when I was about 7 or 8. I used to puff my cheeks and play the 12-bar blues. Like I'd walk around the house doing like...
Why do we need the Holy Spirit?
I mean, if you look at what Jesus said when he was leaving, he said he is going and that he will send the Holy Spirit as our helper.
So God knows everything since the end, from the beginning, has a plan for your life. So to find that plan for your life, you must find God. When you find God, you will know the path for your life.
Taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Lookup, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza alikuwa na ria wasa wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hawa sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi mazuri.
Mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
How easy is it for you to forgive someone who has hurt you?
How easy is it?
What are some tips, a person can apply to improve their public speaking skills?
We all have personality lazy somewhere around us.
In my mind, whenever I'm invited for a public speaking event, I don't like to put a lot of, accessories or too many colors.
What are the major things to look out when choosing a school for a child?
Another cheesy conversation starter is, men do this a lot. They look familiar. Have we met before? No. We met in
Nobody's buying that line again.
No, we don't. We don't buy it anymore.
Save a Life is a non-profit organization that has taken the front line in transforming lives in the entire country. So far, we have transformed the life of over 100,000 people through our programs, which include medical support, youth empowerment, street family program, feeding program, and climate change. Join us today as we transform lives. As we always say, service to humanity is service to God. Save a life, transforming lives.
Welcome back to Look Up TV. My name is Simba Elijah Charles here again. Let me just start the next part of our conversation by apologizing to you this morning. Now, we do expect to have two panelists on our set this morning. We're supposed to be joined by one Peter Amunga, who's an education researcher and advocate. But I've just been informed this morning that he's felt unwell. Woke up this morning. He was in Mombasa during the head teachers meeting. So that means then that this conversation will continue regardless for the next 1 hour, because the guest who was supposed to join him this morning in the studio is right here with us. So on that note then, let me introduce the topic of our conversation, which is essentially the headlines that we've seen come from school heads across the country. There have been teachers who've been complaining of tough-handedness from school principals, misuse of money and funds, and even the entire conversation of corruption in high schools, and skewed transfers, and even the biggest headline this morning of ghost learners in the country. If you were in Mombasa and you followed the proceedings, the first conversations around the issue of ghost learners, the head teachers removed themselves from it. They say they do not know about any issues about ghost learning, and they actually did blame the government for that. This morning, though, what we're talking about is principals from KEL. Principals who have taken over the education system in the country and turned it into something else that it was never envisioned to be. Now, for joining us this morning, to have a gentleman who is running from the KUPPET Secretary General position in Kisumu. His name is one Owino John Paul, aspirant KUPPET, the Kisumu division. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine.
Happy to have you around.
Thank you very much.
Karibu sana. Let's start this conversation. And the been a lot of headlines around it. I mean, for 2 consecutive days, last week, there have been a lot of headlines around the conduct of school principals across the Kenyan schools in the country. And this is what they're saying. And I will read for you some of the headlines that we saw from the Standard. There were 2 headlines. Number one, there went a headline that said, principals from hell. That's what they called them. And they said, number one, corruption, unwarranted transfers, misuse of funds, tough-handedness, and mistreatment of teachers in these schools. That's the summary that we got from that particular story. Then they followed that headline with another story as well. And this is what they said: see nothing, see no evil, see nothing, hear no evil. They also blamed TSC for keeping quiet, knowing very well the conduct of school principals in the Kenyan schools. So back-to-back headlines, and I went online, Mr. Bino, just to see exactly what teachers were saying. It's a trending issue, and I ran into a flurry of stories of teachers who are giving their accounts of how they have been mistreated by school head teachers. And they're saying it looks as if there's nowhere to turn to, because TSC, before they give you a disciplinary hearing, you gotta wait. It's a long process. So teachers are suffering in silence at the hands of the school principals. Let's begin from that. Do you believe that indeed these headlines that have been run by the media are anything to go by?
Yes, to begin our conversation today, I will say that some part of the headline is correct, but we may not vilify all the heads as having originated from hell. I want to tell you there has been a series of issues in this teaching profession emanating from TSC, and some are also orchestrated by the very union that are supposed to protect us. Personally, I have an history that maybe I can give because I'm a victim. I am Mr. Wino John Paul, just like you have earlier stated.
Yes.
I aspired.
I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you just a little bit short. I'm getting told that there's an issue with your microphone this morning. Just as we solve it, I mean, some of the issues that we're going to get into so that we get him clearly this morning is on exactly where we are. And if you look at some of the issues that we're going to look at this morning, it is some of the complaints that have been pushed to majority of schools in the country. Number one, and we're going to talk about it deeply this morning, is on the funding issue, where head teachers have been saying that probably because of the lack of capitation that is coming from the national government just to run the schools, head teachers have had to carry the weight of oppression in these schools, which is why majority of them have been blamed for running the schools like their kitchens, is what we're going to talk about this morning. Also, some of the issues is sending students home over fees. We're going to talk about that this morning heavily. But then look at it from a leadership perspective. Is it possible that indeed we can start charting solutions as stakeholders in the education sector just to find some of the solutions to these issues? Now, in turns, teachers in schools have also been speaking, and I'll be giving you those accounts this morning. I've been looking at what we're talking about on TikTok this morning so that we can get to see whether indeed some of the conversation we're going to have in this morning will start giving us solutions. I'll be giving you those accounts and also talk about accountability mechanisms that we can suggest this morning to be pushed into these schools. Part of those conversations are going to come. And so I beg, Mr. Director, then if we do not have a solution to this sound, you can confirm. If it is not there, we can take a tiny breather, solve it, and then come back. Good. Here we are now. All right. Mr. Wino, let's jump into that conversation then. Do you believe that these headlines that we've seen in the media for the better part of last week, that they're indeed true?
I can confirm to an extent that they are true, but that does not mean that we vilify all the heads.
Yes.
We have a number of them that are proved to be very fatherly when it comes to management, and a good number also have listened to the cry of the teachers and always come to their rescue. But as I had earlier stated, these issues are far much beyond what can be seen in the headline, because some of these issues have emanated from the TSC, that is the body mandated in employment and controlling the teaching as a profession, and is supposed to be independent.
Yes.
Part of it has also emanated from the union, the very union that is supposed to be the lawyer for the teacher. Some of them have also colluded with some heads to ensure that teachers suffer. I want to speak this deeply because one of the teachers we buried last week was a teacher who had just come from a corrective measure from a rehab. And this teacher landed from the rehab and was transferred almost immediately to a far place where she could not get the care from the mother and also the family. So having not healed from that lapse and then being punished punitively to a very far place where she could not manage and even to take care of her meals, Madam had to succumb. These are some of the saddest scenarios that I want to share today. And as I earlier said, personally, I've also suffered the punitive transfer from TSC and the union itself. I contested for the post of Kupet in Homa Bay County 2021 chairmanship.
Yes.
I campaigned, traversed the whole county of Homa Bay until to an extent I presented my nomination papers, which I'm presenting to the very union that I'm supposed to compete and change the leadership. I was removed, ejected from the county to a very far place, that is Nyamira, Kibirigo boys, have a condition, underlying condition, I'm asthmatic. That is a condition I've managed from birth.
Yes.
The very union colluded with the TSC to take me to Kibirigo, the coldest part. The intention was for me to die. But I never lost faith. I fought until I managed my way back to Kisumu.
And that's after a period of how long?
That after a period of 1 year. Because my health condition and the documents I had,
yes,
had to compel them to take me to a place which was bearable.
Did you first present that case when they came in and handed you that transfer request?
I could not present the case to them because they are the very one who transferred me. It was the Secretary General,
yes,
colluding with the TSC and my competitors,
yes,
to work their way so that I'm ejected.
Are you saying that when TSC decides to transfer you, you have no way to fight that transfer, Mr. Wino?
There are ways, but I want to tell you for teachers who may not understand, there's a procedure. Once you are transferred, they insist that you have to report. Then there's a process of rerouting. You write a rerouting letter or a complaint letter that can take a given period of time before it is considered. But now that the transfer emanated from them, despite the fact that the procedures were followed, mine could not be affected so that I could get back to an environment where I was close with my family. But now to go the long way of presentation of medical documents and all that, and that is how I managed to get my way back to Kisumu. It was a matter that attracted even serious health practitioners that had to get a letter from them, the medical history,
yes,
all my inhalers, plus all those receipts from the hospital where I had earlier been admitted. Actually, when I landed in Kebrigo, the principal told me that you could not survive here because all along at night I will be taken to the hospital for care. Remember, when our medical cover is also an issue, you could get to an hospital, you can get that proper or immediate treatment.
That's it.
So it is real. It is real. A number of us are quiet because they don't know where to go. That's where we are coming out to talk on their behalf, to share these issues so that we tell the principals that they should be human enough. All of us began as teachers, then we went to management. I know they're also having issues that may compel them to behave otherwise. Matters of maybe delay in capitation, frustrations from the community, so forth and so forth. And this can make them change their behavior and even make them act like that way. So I want to confirm that what has been in the headline is not a total lie.
That's it.
Yes.
Pretty much. Let's then go in and see exactly where these issues are coming from. Number one, I mean, the school principal, when you say that I am the school principal for a certain secondary school, what does TSC envision you to be? How should a school principal conduct himself or herself? Do you stop being a teacher? Do you become the caretaker of the school? What are some of the functions that a school principal essentially making the leader of a school, Mr. Wino?
First of all, you are aware we are professionals.
Yes.
Those principals are professionals. There is code of conduct. and their roles are clear. We have got the roles of the principal in terms of administration, supervision.
That's it.
Coordination of activities. And remember, the principal do not only coordinate the teachers. We have the support staff.
That's it.
That are the people assisting maybe at the kitchen. We have the bursar, sometimes big schools, we have even the matron, we have the school driver and all that. So the roles are clear-cut, but sometimes as human beings, they may overstep their mandate so that they use that office as a way of showing their might. But what I want to tell you is that we've been having bodies which have been mandated by the TSC and even the ministry. We have the county director, sub-county directors, those quality people. They are supposed to be supervising these agents of TSC. But remember, some of them get to schools and don't listen to the teacher. They get to the principals, and once they've listened to them, they sometimes only get out with handouts. And then a teacher now remains somebody who is now solo, remains alone. So still, despite the challenges that are there and the behavior of these principles, as it has appeared, there are ways that they can be corrected. And as a union and an aspirant for leaders of teachers in Kisumu, we believe we can conduct a series of training for them. We can even propose some policy guideline that can regulate their behavior and even their conduct with the teachers and even the community as a whole. Remember, a school is not only the teachers. We have the parents, we have the students, and then the stakeholders. We have board of management, the PTA. PTA is Parents Teachers Association.
Yes.
Where the teachers, the parents work in tandem. Then the BOM now has a major role, which is stipulated well by the Minister of Education. Remember, in the school where I teach, I'm a member of the board. So some of the policy or some of the things which are discussed in the board are meant to ensure that all stakeholders pull together for the betterment of the student and for the betterment of the teacher. As I was moving around for my campaigns, which I've been holding in Kisumu, there are schools I visit, and even when you get to the staff rooms, you find the teachers look more fearing than even the students that we teach. That at times when they talk, those issues can even force them to undergo disciplinary whatever.
That's it.
Yes, disciplinary committees or actions, and at the same time, this one can even lead to their transfer. So these are some of the issues that we need to condemn, and we need to call the rogue principals. We must just call them to order, and the good ones who have done their work well, we need to continue to embrace them.
That's it.
As role model even for others. And I'm telling you, this is possible.
So, Stabino, you know, but all of us have been through the school. I mean, we've gone through the high school system in the country. And then you get to read a headline that a certain principal is corrupt. How do you imagine that a school principal is going to be corrupt when, number one, Mr. Wino, I mean, the school fee, currently as it is in the country, is paid directly to the government accounts. That's the 222 payment system where you get in the account number for the school. How do we imagine that a school principal starts to become corrupt when in reality, their mode of operation, their line of operation is well spelled out by the government? How do we imagine that a school principal may start becoming corrupt?
You know, in Kenya, corruption is a thing which is everywhere. Even the kids that we give birth to know very well that we are corrupt. Because you know very well when you are traveling in a vehicle, then you see a policeman who is supposed to ensure that security and all that is done, take money directly. So the corruption cannot only be everybody is almost corrupt, and even our national leaders. This is something that I'm not afraid to say. Remember, the government is supposed to be sending capitation to school. The free secondary education.
That's it.
Started in 2008 by Honorable Mike. But I want to be specific. The money that used to be sent to school, you can confirm, was 22,448 or 444.
That's it.
This amount of money nowadays is not sent in time. it is staggered. Sometimes there's even no framework on, is it being sent quarterly or annually or semi-annually or yearly? These are some of the things that may even cause the principals to be corrupt. On this, I want to be on their side, because sometimes government has not sent their part. The government has come out openly in the media and say very well, from the Minister of Education, even the PS or even the President, that today the Treasury has released 30 billion to schools. The term billion, when a parent listens to it, even the bit they will not do. That is why sometimes this can lead to misappropriation.
Yes.
Even unauthorized levies, and sometimes unethical practices. And these ones, you know very well, I've told you, they are orchestrated, or they are as a result of sometimes delayed disbursement by the government, inadequate funding, where you are told you send 4,000 per child, but when you go to the school account, you get it is 2,000. Pressure to maintain the standards in school. You know, it's as per the standards that you get the population. And I want to tell you that some schools, the heads are suffering. You find a school with a population of 48 students. These 48 students, there's very few number of teachers. You find even only 3 government teachers. The principal has to hire extra teachers to teach those subjects on BON terms.
That's it.
And yet there's no money. There must be a watchman for that school. There must sometimes be a librarian. Sometimes you must have a lab technician. Where do you get your money to pay them? Some of these heads are even forced to go to the SACCO and take a loan to fund the school. We are supposed to advise the government there should be a standard amount of money allocated to school, despite the number of the students, that can keep the school afloat. That is why when you hear the term corruption, it is not new. Because you realize that the suppliers sometimes need their money. The students have taken sukuma wiki, have taken beans, have taken ugali, yet money for that has not been sent by the government. And because the parents are poor, I stay and I teach in a local school where sometimes a parent will bring even 10 tins of maize or beans to pay school fees. Some pay as little as 500 shillings when a child is sent home. You have schools that when you send those students home, they don't even come back. You have to report that they just come because they have overstayed. The number is not even manageable in class, because as a population of 48, the whole school, you send all of them home and only 10 comes back. The remaining 38 can disappear.
That's it.
So we have a lot of things that must be done. And you know, it is the role of the union that we are going to advise the government.
Yes.
And the government must be told the truth. I know sometimes they will want to sugarcoat because of fear or what. But for me, my aim of coming out to lead teachers in Kisumu is that I can come out and tell the government, do this, do this, do this. You are aware the highest chunk of the budget of Kenya is in the education sector.
Yes.
And the last budget, 2025-2026, the allocated amount to the education as a whole was 702.7 billion. That is 28% of the total
Kenyan
budget allocated to the Republic of Kenya. Remember, that budget sometimes also has some deficit. Free-day secondary education was given 51.9 billion. The junior school was given 28.9. The free primary education was given 7 million. And you know, primary schools is a very big number. Examination was given 5.9. And they were even muting that this one was not even supposed to be given. So even NEC as a body has a problem. The remaining amount goes to other sectors. Remember, we have university, higher education, we have the tertiary colleges, where, you know, partly the government funds.
Yes.
And with higher education, you know, of help, the students are being funded part of the money. So this amount is not sustainable. It may look big, but the Department of Teaching is so wide. Remember, that is what even takes care of the salary for teachers like me. So that is why we want the government to know every day people give birth. You cannot stop population in this teaching profession. Just like in health, people get sick. So it's a reality. The government must know that this budget will always go up, but let them give that money as written or as promised. Currently, it was announced that that capitation will be reduced to 16,900. Remember in 2008, a sack of maize was going for 4,000 and a sack of beans was going for 6,000. Sometimes when we have drought, we buy even a sack of beans at 16 or 8,000. It has almost tripled. The same amount which was being given in 2008 is even now being reduced. So we have a problem. That is why, despite the fact that these heads have got their own challenges as human beings, despite the fact that they are involved in corruption, the government also must come out and do their part so that the education sector can run smoothly.
Yes.
Remember, education is the backbone for a county that is intending to attain the Millennium Development Goals. And a county that takes education for granted, that's a county that lacks future.
That's it.
We have had a lot of policy framework. Committees have been formed, but sometimes they are formed in a rush. They are formed by people who do not understand what is there on the ground, the nitty-gritty. I talk to you as a teacher who is on the ground, as a teacher who sees the plight of the parents, the plight of the very students we are having, and even the plight of the teachers. And a teacher in this now suffers even more. Because you know, when I'm a science teacher, I need chemicals in the lab. Yes. I need to do practicals. The school sometimes may not be able to buy practicals. Sometimes as a teacher, I need to have a lab tech who prepares for me practical classes. A school is not able to hire this because of the amount of money that they're having. That is why I've been talking about a risk allowance.
That's it.
To be factored in the pay slip for teachers. And this is a matter whose time has come, and we shall demand for it.
That's it. Mr. Wino, I want you to hold your thought right there, because you've already started touching on points that I want us to touch on once we come from this tiny breather. The government is hitting the head teachers hard. In fact, currently as it is, no student in the Republic of Kenya is supposed to be sent home for school fee arrears. When the president stands to speak, he says, if any head teacher in this country sends a student home for school fee, that is a head teacher that is supposed to be arrested, because the government says we provided that money. Also, head teachers have been blamed for ghost learners. What they're being told, the data that you're giving us on the ground is corrupt. This morning, the Daily Nation has run a headline that is saying that we have 87,000 ghost learners in the country that have taken 1 billion shillings from the national educational budget. Once we come back, we'll be putting it to Mr. Wino. Is it something that unions in the country can solve, or it's just for us to push the government and stop blaming the head teachers in the school? Also be a part of this conversation and Look Up TV across all your social media platforms. I am at Kiagasimba. Once we come back, we tackle that particular issue.
Taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Look Up, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki, na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza liko na ria wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hawa sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi man.
Mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
How easy is it for you to forgive someone who has hurt you?
How easy is it?
What are some tips, a person can apply to improve their public speaking skills?
We all have personality lazy somewhere around us.
In my mind, whenever I'm invited for a public speaking event, I don't like to put a lot of, accessories or too many colors.
What are the major things to look out when choosing a school for a child?
Another cheesy conversation starter is, men do this a lot. You look familiar. Have we met before? No. We met in
Nobody's buying that line again.
No, we don't. We don't buy it anymore.
Save a Life is a non-profit organization that has taken the front line in transforming lives in the entire country. So far, we have transformed life of over 100,000 people through our programs, which include medical support, youth empowerment, street family program, feeding program, and climate change. Join us today as we transform lives. As we always say, service to humanity is service to God. Save a life, transforming lives.
Welcome back to the Morning Drift. We are into our last part of the conversation this morning, still with our guest this morning, who is one Owino John Paul, JP, is an aspirant executive secretary, Kupeit, Kisumu County. And we are talking about the headlines that we've seen in the dailies or in the media in the country about the conduct of school principals across some of the schools in Kenya. And he's saying, yes, partly he does agree, but then he says there is a clear picture that you need to get before you start pushing that blame to the secondary school heads in the country. Just before we went on break, I was put into this question on sending students home over fees. This is what we've been speaking about even when we were off camera, Mr. Wino, that the government is telling teachers in the schools, you should never send kids home for school fee. We've already sent that capitation. And even if it's not been sent fully, the rest of it will be cleared before the end of the year. So find a way, work out a way as school heads to make sure that the money that we've sent works. Do not send kids home for fee. So when a parent listens to the government say that, Mr. Wino, and then the following day, your kid has been sent home over school fee, parents will come out and say, this school principal is corrupt. The money has been sent and we do not know why my kid is at home. The government is saying, we've sent that money, we're going to send that money, do not send kids home over fee. But the school principals are saying, they got to go home. Who is right in this situation?
I want to say without any fear or favor that the government sometimes lies to the parents. And the money for day school, the free day secondary day school amount that they pay is very little. In fact, some schools pay as less as 9,000 in a year.
Yes.
I was telling you now how life has gone up in terms of foodstuffs and all that. And these students cannot be in school and fail to eat. There's something many people do not know. It's only in high school, because mostly the lunch program is in secondary school. This lunch program is what the government funds, when that is what the parents fund. And when I'm a student in school, I know if it reaches break time, I must take tea. When it reaches lunch time, I must take lunch.
That's it.
There's no way you can tell them today, we don't have maize because the parents have not paid or the government has not sent. They will strike. In fact, they will chastise. They will beat the teachers, including the principal. And I've said very well, the only language that the parents understand is when those children go back home and sit with them, is when they will pay this money. A number of them are non-committal. They can come and tell the principal, give me after 2 weeks, I will pay. Then 2 weeks elapses, they have not paid. It means they have breached the agreement. So the only thing remaining for the principal is to send them home to go and pick the money. The term we use, the principals use, because most are senior teachers, to send them.
That's it.
But the parents talk about chasing them. My students will be
yes.
chased. You know, chasing and sending is two different things. And I want to tell you that whenever the parent hears that money has been sent in school, they even fail to do their part. And when you get to the nitty-gritty, you realize the money which has been sent is less. Remember, we are talking about 22,444. Right now, it is 16,000. That money sometimes even get less than 16.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you now how the life has gone up.
Yes.
Things are no longer the same. Recently, the government gave an order that all certificates for Form 4s and Class 8s will be picked at the sub-county office. With all those arrears, what will happen? So it is within this period that the students at home that the principal must demand that they pay the school fee so that they break the even.
Yes.
And if the government don't want the students to be sent home, why can't they pay everything and even bring beans and maize in school so that the students can just eat? Can have a feeding program for them so that there's maize, there's beans, and kila kitu. Nobody will send somebody's child at home. But this idea of not sending money, the required amount of money, and sometimes cheating the parents that money has been sent, makes it very difficult. I want to tell you, in this local school, there are things that the parents are supposed to buy for their students. I'm a teacher of maths. I expect our students to be bought for logarithm table.
Yes.
If there's no maths you can do in secondary school without logarithm table. I expect the parent to buy for their child scientific calculator. I expect them to buy for them a mathematical set and a 30 centimeters ruler. Sometimes you hear the government saying that the parents should not pay anything, even buy those things. And how will you teach? These are equipments that are a must. You must have them.
Is that disconnect,
yes.
Mr. Wino?
Yes.
Because it's true, we do understand that you can't tell parents. By the way, there was even a communication, was it last year, the beginning of last year, during the transition of primary school kids into secondary kids, into secondary school, sorry, where the government came in and told them, school principals, please do not kick kids out of school for lacking uniform. Allow them to even come with their primary school uniform into secondary school as we look for money to push into your schools. That disconnect, where does it begin from? Because what do unions need to do to give the government a clear picture of what these kids need for their education to be a success in these secondary schools, Mr. Wino?
Apart from what the union should do, I want to say that no school should allow students to wear any clothes that they are having. Uniform is a sign of identity.
That's it.
But
in the event,
yes,
in the event that the parents are struggling to get this uniform, because that is also money, which are also struggling to pay school fee, do you think it can be allowed that let them transition with their primary school uniforms as they look for their uniforms? Because that's what the government is communicating to the school principals, that we want you to make it as easy as you can for these students to actually come in and learn.
I want to tell you, these students coming to high school are reaching adolescence. And even the way they dress sometimes now changes.
Yes.
With their body, whatever.
Yes.
The growth of the body. We know some students in primary schools cannot even afford that uniform. Some of them still wear trousers that are open. You can even see the small cloth inside.
That's
even
it.
the girls.
Yes.
So even this one allowing them to come to school with such kind of attires, when others can afford, this one can even lower their self-esteem.
I said that.
And even make them even suffer more in terms of academics. And allowing such students to wear any clothes. The government sometimes just say any, not even the one they came with from primary. That one also spreads in discipline. These students we expect to come to school and go back in the evening. When they don't have a uniform to identify them, they can branch anywhere. I want to tell you an example when NEC was going on in one of the schools in Kisumu County.
Yes.
Students were found to have stolen properties and have a room where they have all sorts of even crude weapons. Students that we are teaching are Form 4. So this one can encourage a lot of indiscipline. That's why we will still encourage the parents. At least when they are transiting to secondary, they need to have a uniform.
That's it.
There's a way that youth uniform can be affordable. The government can decide to lower taxes on textile so that the uniforms are even those clothes and all that are tax-free.
That's it.
Yes, there are ways. But as a union, how do we come in? We are coming in to tell the government the truth. What is happening as our union, which is mainly Kupet, we don't have leaders who are sensitive to the nitty-gritty or the suffering of the students and even the teachers. We have a union that once they sit in Nairobi, they only look at what can benefit them. Whenever they see the government, they only see the government as a source of a brown envelope.
That's it.
Once they got the money, they don't want to care. And they are fighting even those people who are upcoming like us. Those people who have the will and understand what is happening. But as a union, we need to advise. I will repeat this. We need to advise the government and tell them what is rightfully to be done. And if not, we can force them. The language that the government understands is forcing them.
That's it.
Telling teachers not to teach students who do not have uniform. Calling the teachers to be on the road. And we ensure we have a strike that has never happened. A strike that can even go for a whole year. That is the language that the government will listen to. But so long as we have leaders who do not care, they only look at how their age can go past 60, they only look at how they can get money to and even collude for teachers to suffer, nothing will take place.
That's it.
Yes.
Let's look at another area that has shocked Kenyans who look at these issues happen. Mr. No, you and I do know that there are some instances where school principals are actually kicked out of school by parents. It's happened in this country, and last year in Western, we had such one case where a school principal was kicked out of school by parents and members of the community, where they said that this principal, number one, has made our school not perform in the national examinations. That's the first issue. So the question this morning is, what training mechanisms are also needed by your unions to these teachers, number one, to make them effective in leading their schools towards academic excellence, one, and number two as well, to become better leaders in their positions? Are we lacking that training to the school heads in this country? Is that why we're seeing these blames now?
The principals sometimes need to be given extra training,
yes,
even on financial management. It's called the prudence use of the resources,
yes,
and the accountability aspect. They need to be taken through some training that the union can do. This can be seminars or a sort of workshop.
That's it.
Or we can call some financial experts. Remember, the principals have got their union called CASH, their welfare, sort of.
Yes.
Through coordination and working one in hand with the union, we can arrange for such training.
That's true.
So that sometimes what causes the aspect of them being chased away is the fact that maybe the money is brought in school and the money is not spent well. I'll give you the reason that can lead to that misappropriation. Because there's a hole somewhere that has not been filled. This money comes to the government, is put for infrastructure, the principal has diverted it to fill another hole. And the parents will see that instead of building, you are doing another thing. So this is some of the challenges that we are having. And when we talk about performance, this is a matter that I want to look into because we don't understand. Students have got different entry behavior. You find a student join Form 1, like those local sub-county schools. A student has joined Form 1, the government is talking about 100% transition. Even some students get less than 100 marks, and still they are admitted in high school. Because we are told not to turn any student who comes to your school to seek for chance.
That's true.
As students who can get 102 marks out of 500, you take him to high school and you expect that students to get A-. That students, even if NEC is to be done for him, and even given to copy, may not copy that exam well and get that A.
That's true.
So you can't compare a student who is in Alliance and a student who is in Maseno, who maybe got 400 marks to join there. and then one who got 102. Those ones with 102 do not even come to school. Some have even surpassed the high school age. Some of them only come, we have a scenario where students report to school in term 1. They try to behave themselves. Once they are enrolled, they disappear. And the government insists they must sit for cases. They only come a week for during we call it rehearsal. Somebody who has never been in class for a whole year, has never attended any practical class, done any practical, taken to do cases, and you expect that to pass. Then the parents come there with mabang or tricks to chase the principal away. That is wrong. And that is why, for me, as a leader for teachers,
yes,
those schools where principals are going to be chased by parents who do not understand the complexity of the education system and the anti-behavior, I shall withdraw teachers plus the principals in those schools and demand that those parents bring their own people to lead those schools. There's a scenario that happened in Kisumu East. This MP for Kisumu is called Shabir.
That's it.
Decided to embarrass.
I was going to talk to you about that as well. But
embarrass a teacher, and then nothing was done. The union only came with a bus and made some noise, and the bus was even stoned. It is the role of the union to protect their teachers because they are members. They pay union dues.
That's it.
And they are just as vulnerable as any other teacher. Remember, these teachers are also parents. I'm aspiring to be a union leader. I'm a parent, and I'm also a teacher. If I become a principal, I'm also a parent, I'm also a teacher. So we share the same pain. That is why we are saying that when it comes to perform, because if you force us to perform also, when you know very well that the processes, performance is not a one-day thing, it is a process. Students must be prepared. Revision materials must be bought. Chemicals must be there in school. There are no chemicals. The school cannot even afford to bring reams to roll revision materials. Then you expect results. These are sometimes what is leading to exam malpractice. Because the principal might struggle. Because if your school do not perform well, the parents will transfer the students from school A to school B. Without that number of students, where do you get money to run the school? So they are also sometimes at a crossroad. They want results. They want to convince the parents that the population is maintained. They also want to ensure that the little they are getting is used appropriately, while other places have not been spent well.
Yes.
So there are a lot of things that any person seeing it in a wider, in an open perspective may not understand. That is why still we need to advise the government to do the right thing so that that which they want to be done can be done. And the person to implement this mainly is the teacher. This teacher who has been looked down upon in Kenya. We are the only lot that whenever we want money to be increased in our pay slip, then because of our number, we suffer because of numbers. In fact, we have lost the respect that we used to have in this teaching profession. I admire to be a teacher. We are the only one that whose money can be deducted in the pay slip to build for him a house while he's not even able to pay rent every month. He's not able to pay his rent. His money has been taken because the pay is very little to build in a home, a house which he cannot afford. We are the only ones that can have 2 medical cover, 2.75 statutory deduction, which is almost the highest. Medical allowance is all taken, then we are lumping, sir. When you get to an hospital, you are told the government is not sending money, you are turned away. Sometimes you are even removed at an ICU to go and die. So a teacher must first and foremost be respected because he's the implementer. He or she is the implementers of this government policy. And you can only implement when you are paid well. I know we may talk about exam malpractice. There are many things that can lead to this.
Yes.
When you pay me 500 shillings to go and supervise an exam in a very far place, that sometimes I need to commute with motorbike 250 to Kuenda 250 Kurudi. Then you expect to be there from the first to the end. I know this is also a risk. In case of a malpractice, I can lose my job. If I'm paid well to man this exam, I don't think I'll even be interested to ensure that I help facilitate exam malpractice. Better payment is a motivating factor. It motivates a teacher intrinsically and materially so that you give your best. Remember in IEBC, when you are to work as a clerk or a PO, you are being paid 2,500 per day. Just for an election and an exam that changes the life of a student.
It's
You pay
500
supervisor
shillings.
680.
Yes.
Invigilator, these are the exact amount. Supervisor 680 per day. And I don't even understand in Nairobi here, because even when I was coming here, I used to Uber 400 shillings.
That's it.
That one I'd move from the estate to town and then over to this place and I'd go back. Suppose I was to come and invigilate exams here, you paid me 680 per day, invigilator 510. The center manager, who is a principal, is being paid 550. Then the security man, 470 per day. This money, when it will be paid, is not known. We might finish the exams, we finish marking, we still wait, we do not know when it will be paid. Look at that. Do you expect such a person to uphold high-level professionalism and integrity? I'll be compromised.
Hold on, Mr. Wino, how much, let's look at those figures again. How much, is it 510 for the principal for that school, isn't it?
550.
550.
And there's a deputy principal also who is supposed to be in school throughout.
That's it.
He's given nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing complete.
Hold on, the supervisor, how much for the exam, how much do they take home?
Supervisor 680 per day.
680 shillings per day.
Yes.
Wait, when they break down this figure,
yes,
what is the purpose of this amount? Is it just for their welfare where they're
that is given for the welfare, that is transport. You know, sometimes you can go to supervise and you get sick. You buy a drug. Sometimes when you come back and the family knows that you've gone for an exercise as serious as this,
yes,
you should even come back with a loaf of bread, or even a packet of ngano. Then you are given 680 fixed. Sometimes some places are not accessible. It rains so much until you have even to take a motorbike to reach your home. Nobody has ever cared about this. And please, this is a matter which is very dear to me. We have science teachers now going to prepare for practicals.
That's it.
The schools close, we don't stay next to school. Like for me, I teach in Kisumu and our family in Homa Bay. When school closes, I have to go and bond with my family. Some of our colleagues, I know our families in Nairobi. You know, sometimes people look down upon us. They think for us we cannot stay in Nairobi. I have to come from Nairobi and go back to my local school to prepare chemicals. Nobody gives me a single cent. And remember, these chemicals, sometimes we inhale them.
That's it.
They affect us. We prepare these chemicals, we inhale them, they affect us. Nobody is willing to pay us risk allowance for the science teachers. So something must be done. And it must be done as urgent as today. And if these things are not done, we shall be talking, we shall be giving threats, we shall be doing everything, but nothing will come out of this.
Pretty much. I want you to handle this issue because at the end of the day, every other conversation essentially comes back to this one we're talking about here. The voice of the teacher in this entire conversation. And I like the way you said that on paper, those headlines that we're reading might be completely true, but then once you start digging deeper, you find that it's just, there's a web of issues that you have to understand first before you say, well, that headline is true. Why is the voice of the teacher when it comes to these issues? And I want to ask you from this perspective. A school principal decides I'm going to transfer a teacher just because of the pressure of performance, and say, well, this teacher is not performing, so I might decide today just to transfer them or ask for them to be transferred from this school. Where is the voice of the teacher in this entire process? Why is it that up to now, even at a time that there is a national examination currently going on, we do expect that those figures that you've read here today are going to be the exact same figures that the teachers are going to get paid? We haven't seen an effective industrial movement from your unions in this country. It's a good thing that you're gunning for the Kuppet position, that has pushed the government to the point that they make a turnaround on some of these issues. Release capitation in good time, pay the teachers, promote the teachers. Just what we said, we have promotion pressures here and performance incentives. Why has it not happened? I'll give you an example. We've seen how UASU has pushed the government in the current lecturer strike to the point that the government fell to the pressure. They've already released 3.8 billion, and they've said before mid next year we're going to give you the 4.1 billion that you've been demanding. We've seen how effective it has been, But when it comes to your organization, to your union, it looks as if TSC is still the final say in this. You've not really pushed them to the wall to feel the need to come up with proper guidelines to govern some of the issues that we're talking about here this morning.
The current leadership of the union as constituted is in bed with the employer. Completely in bed. They are in total love.
Yes.
In fact, they are at their prime peak of love.
Yes.
And as I'm saying, you are aware our union leaders in Kupet, some of them have surpassed the age of retirement. I don't know whether somebody who has retired can lead those who are still active in the service. They have a constitution that we do not even know. They are pushing that their age can go past 60. They want to lead us even up to 70, 80. They are saying they are going to lead us as long as they can still jump while we are suffering. We are the only union, Kupet, which are being led by sitting members of parliament. Our old sitting member of parliament, how will you tell him that you have been given as a CBA, collective bargaining agreement of 29 shillings? They will not understand. If you tell them you go to an hospital and you are sent away, you know they are able to go to India. They are able to be treated everywhere.
No, sir.
We have 2 serving members of parliament. I'm saying this with a lot of courage because I don't fear. That is why we want to transform the union leadership. And that's why I've come out as an alternative leader. I teacher activist, a voice for teachers. Right now we are in the campaign period. Election hours in Kisumu has been scheduled for 31st. We want that change so that our leaders who have been there can pave the way for energetic, zealous, passionate, and courageous people to take the mantle. I admire Constantine Wasonga, and I cannot lie down to say this. I remember Adongo, what he did during the regime of Moi, the former president, the late. May his soul rest in peace.
Yes.
I remember Koto Siany, my brother. I also remember, I can't forget to remember my brother Sosion. He worked, he's intended to come back to NAT. I welcome him so that we shall join hands and ensure change come to the teachers. Ours call for a strike, and once they call for a strike, even before it elapses 1 or 2 weeks, they wait for calls to be called in State House. They want to be called to be given money. Once they get the brown envelope, they fade away. Then they leave teachers on their own. When they want to call a strike, they really tell us to move to the road, move to the road. Within a short time, they leave us on our own. That is why for education to take the right path, change must come across Kisumu and across Kenya. Even this transfer we are talking about, it is the role of the union to ensure that transfer is done the right way. It is the mandate of the employer to transfer teachers where need may be. But that transfer must be initiated by the teacher.
That's it.
It is sometimes very sad. We have reached a level where we are being swapped. A swap is where two teachers teaching same subjects agrees to change the workplace once they have signed and written a commitment letter and uploads it. So that I say I'm moving from school A to school B, the other one is moved from school B to school A with the same combination and the same subject. That one nowadays is being done without the knowledge of the teachers being swapped. And sometimes they kill us so much. I teach in Nyakach, which is having hardship allowance. In Kisumu, there are 2 sub-counties, Nyakach and Moroni with hardship. Now with that punitive transfer, you are moved from an hardship allowance to a place which is very far from your family. Sometimes you haven't built a home or a house. You are moved to a far place without hardship as a punishment. Sometimes you may be having a sick child, or you may be sick. They know very well you are sick, but removing you there is to silence you so that you don't talk. That's why we are saying that union is about representation. Union is about agitation,
yes.
And union is about welfare.
That's it.
It is welfare, agitation, and representation. When you have a weak union that is aligned to the employer, and the employer must be fought, because getting money from employer is not easy. If you have a weak people masquerading as leaders, as teachers, it's like we are doomed. We have lost hope. When we fix this teaching with the leadership of the union, even the government will come up and praise us for having opened their eyes. Those people, when they go to them, they tell them everything is right, while indeed nothing is right. Education is going to the dogs. And with the new system of education, we are transiting from primary to secondary, the junior secondary grade 10. I want to tell you, my brother, nothing is going on. I was trained for 1 week in the name of retooling. The only thing I had was, thank you, it is the end. I remember I was even given 500 per day to move from very far place. My family is in Homa Bay.
Yes.
I'm being retooled in Yakach and my home is far. 500 only. That money also really delayed. Then somebody come here that we are ready for the new system of education. We are not ready. It is a policy for the government. It is working out. But the truth of the matter, a lot has to be done.
That's it.
No publication is taking place. There are going to be subjects which are going to be introduced here. We are not aware of them.
Yes.
We are going to teach science, technology, engineering, mathematics, arts, and sports. Nobody was trained to do that. So we have a long way to go. And the government must listen. They have no otherwise. They must call us on the table so that they get the advice, if they've never got the advice, so that we tell them exactly what is going on. I'm talking because I know exactly what is going on.
Pretty much. But something that I wanted to ask you, when we were looking at the promotion criteria in the country as it is, you'll find that majority of schools that are well performing, Mr. Wino, in the national examinations, you'll find that teachers from these schools find it easy to get promotions. It looks as if the TSC has tied promotions to examinations performance in the country. Do you support that indeed if your school is performing well in the national examinations in the country, then teachers from that school should get it easy to get promoted, whereas those schools that are struggling in performance should work harder so that their tutors in those schools could also be open for promotions?
In fact, I want to take you back when it comes to promotion.
Yes.
I graduated in Nairobi University in 2009, maths and business studies teacher. I was employed in 2013. I worked for 3 years. I got an automatic promotion to job group L. Then the union and the government came up and TSC with something called career progression guide. This one has killed us completely. For me to become a principal or a chief principal, if those promotional levels are followed, I'll be a principal at 71 years old. And I want to tell you, it's not about the big schools that bring results. I taught in Miranda under BOM. When Miranda was #1, that was 2011.
2011, yes.
BOM. I'm the same teacher now teaching in a public school with those entry behavior of 120. My mean is not very easy to go past 6 because I've explained this one earlier.
That's it.
So if the government is going to peg this one on promotion, then they are going to discriminate teachers among those who teach in big schools and those who teach in, they call them decimal schools. These children are Kenyan children. And please, you know quality goes with value. With those students who are learning in Miranda or in Masenu school, I have my boy also in beta candidate, Form 4 right now.
That's it.
I pay more. We are paying almost 60,000, 70. The one learning in a day school is only paying lunch of 9,000 in a year, which I told you they are not even paying because the government is not even giving the other part. That disparity tells you very well that you cannot want all students to pass. And if you hear the government talk about 100% transition, any person is supposed to go to secondary school, whether you get less than 100. You cannot compare a child who has got 100 and the one who has got 400 to join a national school. So if the government is to peg, or the employer is to peg it on promotion, then I want to tell you they are taking it wrong. We are supposed to be promoted in the old system of promotion, which was called the schemes of service, as it is applicable in the Public Service Commission.
Yes.
And please, it is painful. I have students whom I taught who have now got higher job group than me. And I have those who taught me who are still in the service and are retiring at the lowest job group. Promotion motivates. Promotion improves the amount, the remuneration. So once the government decided to lock us in this thing called career progression of Cs, because right now you are employed, a primary school teacher is employed at B5. Then they move to C1. C1 automatic. Then now C2 and C3 interviews. For us now, I was employed at C1, at C2.
Yes.
I got promoted at C3. I am 43 years old. I'm to move to C5. I'm to move to C4, C5, D1, D2, D3, D4, and D5. If promotion was to be done every 3 years without any year passing, because I've been in C3 for the last 8 years.
That's it.
So if I'm to pick these 8 years from C4 to D5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 times 8 is 56. Plus 43 years, which I am now. That is going to be 99 years.
That's 99 years. You'll be
a
already
principal at 99 years old. This is the truth.
And you'll be already out of practice, isn't it?
Allah shall have died. Maybe I will resurrect to become a principal. This is the thing that I want everybody to know. I've been in C3 for 8 years. I want to assume every 8 years. Because right now, I was not even called for an interview that took place.
Yes.
I went 3 times. I never managed it. Right now, they are promoting us with age. If you are 56 or 58, you are promoted. What's the need of making somebody a principal at 59? Then you are taken to a school with 40 students. That is stress. That sometimes leads to depression. Why can't we be promoted when we are strong and energetic?
That's it.
At my age, when I'm a principal, I think I can perform very well. I am strong, energetic, active, understanding. I can align well with the agencies. So you wait until I get very tired, I am depressed, then you give me a promotion to lead a school. That is wrong. These are the things we are coming here to stop.
Yes.
Career progression. We want teachers to be promoted on schemes of service, where after 3 years are moving to a higher job group. Something that the union brought for us, they didn't understand, because they don't share the suffering we are undergoing, and that's why we are sending them home. And I hope all teachers in Kenya are looking at me very well and listening to me. We are going to join on as a branch in Kisumu, plus the other 47 branches, so that we bring a paradigm shift and change in this teaching profession for the betterment of the Kenyan child.
That's it.
And for the betterment of the government.
Pretty much.
Yes.
And we only have 4 minutes left for this conversation this morning. I want you to take 2 minutes to answer this question, because the last 2 minutes, I want you to speak then directly to the teachers who are watching you this morning. Mr. Wino, there's something called public trust in our public education system in this country. You walk outside here, there's sort of a disparity between private education in this country and the public education system in this country. You find somebody saying, well, it's a public school, you would expect those kind of things to happen. How do we improve public trust between our public education system and the public? Because these are the same people that we are serving. Is it possible that your unions can sort of push the schools to be a par in terms of management, in terms of performance with the private education system in this country? Is it possible?
This is very possible. Where there's a will, there's a way. And whatever can be done to ensure that the gap between the private and the public schools always merge, or we draw it closer.
Yes.
When the government and the employer listen to the teacher.
That's it.
And when the government is ready to listen for correction and to listen for guidance. Private schools we pay. I have my students, I'm a teacher in a public school and employed by the Teacher Service Commission. I have my kids in a public school. I'm forced to pay more for quality. And when I pay more, I demand for quality.
That's it.
Here in public school, teachers are not paid well. The government is not willing to bring the required equipments. I've talked about lab. We have schools which do not. We have schools in Kenya that are not even connected with electricity. Even if you are talking about, like last time in the government of Uhuru, we are talking about taking tablets to schools. Will you take a tablet in a school? We still have students who are learning sitting on a stone, literally. A classroom without a wall that you can see somebody outside and you are in class. And this is where we are. So the union can push the government. The union can sit with the government and tell them, can we do this and this and this and this? Kenya, we have a lot of money. It's only that it's not put to the right place. Because when you don't educate a child well, you really kill the future of this student.
Yes.
You kill the future of this student. It's only education that makes us equal. If I never went to school, what will I be doing here? which language will I be getting to come and sit here with you? And I'm a son of a peasant farmer who lost both parents in primary school. Why not for well-wishers who took my hand and say that this son to my brother must go to school? Where will I get the courage to come and speak here? So if the government do not come out and help people like me who are being born there, then I'm telling you a number of them will not reach where we have reached. That's why I'm urging the government to get back and sit a round table.
That's it.
And the union, and not the current one as constituted, the new one coming in, so as we correct this mess once and for all.
Pretty much. Now, you only have a minute, and I want you to spend this last minute then to speak to the teachers who are getting ready then to go in that election come the 31st, you did mention, of this month, isn't it? For that election. Why would they vote for you, Mr. Wino? Just 1 minute.
As I've said, I'm Mr. Wino John Paul, a teacher at St. Mary's Nyamarimba Girls in Kisumu County. I am coming out and asking all the teachers in Kisumu, those who have not known me and those who have heard about me, come out and elect me. We want to bring vibrance in Kisumu. We want to bring a lot of understanding and a voice in Kisumu County so that we become a county of choice. We become a county that when we make a resolution, other 47 counties can copy. I am a genuine candidate. I don't belong to any team. I'm an independent candidate. I come for all the teachers, whether hold as another team called one Mugabe, whether as another team called one Mamluki and Atur, me, I'm coming out to hold the hands of all the teachers. And I think Kisumu is going to be a center of excellence, a county of choice. All teachers in Kisumu, plus their friends, come out on 31st, vote Owino John Paul, and we shall remain great again. Sanity will come home. The fear shall be gone. Thank you, the Kisumu teachers. I know you trust and you believe in me.
That's it. So if you then are going to vote on the 31st of this month, that is for the Kupet elections in Kisumu, then you do know the man to look for, Owino John Paul. Look for him, vote for him. He's saying, we gotta start changing, we gotta start having conversations. If the education sector in the country is gonna start taking, so that we stop reading headlines like we've been treated over the couple past weeks on how the education system in the secondary schools in the country is not really working out for the students and the teachers and for the government at large as well. Taking back to the time that he joined us this morning and Look Up TV across all your social media platforms. Mr. Wino, receive greetings from your co-panelist, Udi Meki, this morning. One, Mr. Amunga this morning. He said he's presented his points well. Say hi to him. I'd like to meet him again once he becomes the chair.
Yes, the executive secretary.
The executive secretary.
The city, yes.
That's it.
Kisumu County.
Fantastic. That's also a vote of confidence from Mr. Munga then this morning, who's been watching you as well. Thank you very much for being a part and parcel of this. That's it. I'll see you tomorrow for another conversation. Good morning and goodbye.
We value your feedback and welcome your complaints about our programming and operations. Feel free to get